I'm going to call upon Gary again, but I can't let him get away without getting a little bit of a roasting here. It's not like us getting together and somebody doesn't pick at somebody's liver. Yeah. I'm going to get you now. Actually, the story goes back a number of years ago. Gary and Siri are at the store, and Clarence just got a whole new shipment of tractors in. So both of them were there, and they were sort of talking amongst themselves, and they said, geez, things are pretty good. Look, Dad got all these tractors in here. Like, holy crap, he's got some money coming through. And that maybe might be now the time to, to hit him up for something. So Siri, being a little bolder, came up and says, Dad, it's nice and things are going pretty good. How about if I get a car? And Clarence, giggled and laughed and says, no, not till the tractors are paid for. So Gary, well, of course, he's fast and quick. He said, well, that's the car. Come on, Siri, you're not going to get a car. So he came up to Clarence and said, well, Dad, how about a motorbike? And in his kind way, Clarence just giggled and laughed, says, no, not till the tractors are paid for. So they continued to lock up the shop and head out the back alley. And no sooner walk out in the back alley and here this tomcat is out there on this mama cat. And while they're doing their tomcat mama cat thing, Gary walks up to that cat and just boots him. Cat goes flying, it's a screaming mess, and Clarence turns and says, what the heck are you doing? What'd you do that for? Nobody rides till the tractors are paid for.
All right, that was good, Doc, yeah. Getting back to the old days, which I dwell for. Bob Snellgrove. Bob Snellgrove. Don't sit down, please come right up here.
I was 6 months too early to be the first baby. I was born in 1926 in July, you see, and if I could have waited 6 months, I could have been the first 27 baby, but that's how it is. My first recollections of here, of course, was Elga's store, who was GJ was a very good friend of my father's, and he first they met each other down in Wetaskiwin in 1906. They crossed over by wagon. GJ went to Angle Lake, and my father went to Clondonald and homesteaded there. Eventually came across and bought and ran for many years the Mary Lake store and post office. It's the one that ended up in Derwent. L.R. Hicks opened the first post office here, and it was all moved from our place down there into Derwent because that was the new thing. I was never very clear, and maybe somebody could tell me the location of the Peguis post office. I thought, somehow I believe it was about 1.5 miles south of here. Your town is quite unique. One time I was talking to Alec Chernetsky, who was the livestock commissioner, and I said, I come from Derwent there, it's quite a unique place. And he says, you want to be very cautious about saying your town's unique. He said, that's from 2 Latin words. Uni meaning one, and equine meaning horse. So I quit using that word. But my first recollections here was coming with my father to Elga's store to get groceries, because Mrs. Elga always give us a little bag of candies every time we come in for groceries. I was far more interested in the candies than the groceries. And we used to come up to the top of the hill where Bill and Johnny Grecklock had the garage, and I think you all remember the old engine there that put power here. And gas, you could fill the whole tank for $2, 20 cents a gallon. Gene, I think you're mistaken about these implement dealers. There was 5, not 4. I personally knew them all. I remember Pete Saskew kicking me out of the bar when I was 12. C.V. Larson was at the bottom of the road, and then Johnson's Livery Barn, and then Chalbing's Cafe, then Pool Hall, and so on. And then I think Andy Jagul had that store that's Harcourt there now, and Frank Elcute. Of course, I remember Kobelnik's on this side, and all up in Vic Cunningham had the lumber yard, and there was four grain elevators, and a creamery and an egg grading station. But that was in my time here, which I left for where I am now in 1951, but I did spend the first 25 years of my life here. When I was, pretty small, and somebody had just bought a drum of fuel from L.R. Hicks, maybe it was Freddie that loaded it, and there was a bet went on. And they unloaded it was in a high wagon, they unloaded it and put it out in the street, and Gus Elgott said he could load it by himself, and the bets were on. And he grabbed that barrel and loaded it by himself, I saw it. He lifted a 45-gallon drum of gas and put it in the high wagon. I remember seeing the first beaver. Now they're all over. And Alex Zook ran over it with a truck by accident, and he brought it in to show us. He laid it up on the street, and I was pretty small. First time I saw a beaver. I had a lot to do with expansions here of water and sewer. There's an old adage coming from the First World War, you'll never get rich digging a ditch, and I'm living proof of that. The trouble with ditch diggers, we always have to start at the top and work down. Everybody else does the opposite. But if you're around town this last week or two, there's two of my grandsons raising heck and making a mess. And a few machines here in town, they're trying to get rid of some of the stuff. But we've skipped a generation. Both of them are my grandsons. Kind of glad to be able to do something after seeing the work that Gary's put into this. If there's anything that might have added something to it, I'm pleased to do it, because this has always been my hometown. Thank you very much.